Leaked emails show that New York City officials were using race to prioritize where they were sending COVID tests. Joe Borelli is the New York City Council minority leader, and he joins us now. Were your constituents having a hard time getting tests because of race?
Yeah, directly. And this is as bad as it sounds on its face. We were facing some of the highest numbers in the city for a period of time over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And when we did the responsible thing and try to get more testing sites to combat the 4, 5, 6 hour lines that people had to wait on, we were told that the city is using its task force on racial equity and inclusion in order to determine where testing sites and where testing kits were given. There's nothing on its face wrong with having a task force to try to get kits and testing and vaccines into the hands of people who might be vaccine hesitant. That's not the problem. The problem is when the city only prioritizes neighborhoods that meet that racial rubric in order to hand out supplies and life-saving medicine.
Well, this story has been around for the last couple of days. What's been the response to it? Because now it's out in the public.
Well, thankfully, at one level, the Adams administration has reversed course. They've been nothing but proactive and helpful, and we have some new sites and new testing that's going online now. So I think that's a very positive step. But also you have at the city and state level guidance to physicians on when to allocate different medicines. This was a second story basically about the same thing, where New York is actually encouraging physicians to consider race in terms of prescribing oral and monoclonal treatments. So there's two levels, and we're getting somewhere with one, thanks to Eric Adams. We're not getting far on the other side, thanks to the state's regulations against physicians. So I'm optimistic, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Okay, let's talk about education. The new mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, he says he will try his best. He will keep the schools open. This is very important to parents in all big cities, and New York in particular. Do you think he can do it?
Yeah, and he's right. And the rhetoric here is 100% right on this one. Will the actions follow that is sort of the question. If we continue the de Blasio mandates, if we can continue the State Department of Education mandates on how often and how many students must quarantine and be shut down when there's a single or 2 or 3 incidents per school, we won't be able to do that. So I appreciate that his head seems to be in the right place, and his goals seem to be in getting kids constantly in schools where they should be. But again, if it doesn't get met by a policy change, that's going to be the problem long term.
Well, he says he's going to keep the vaccine mandates on private companies with 100 people or more. That really hits New York City badly.
Yeah, and this is where he's entirely wrong. I mean, our vaccine mandates have not worked. There's prima facie evidence of that happening right now, that we are the epicenter, not just of the country, but in almost the world, of new cases of Omicron variant. It's not working. Right. So to double down on de Blasio era mandates, when at the one hand you're saying you want people to return to offices, you want people to return to work, is counterintuitive. You have people on Wall Street, you have people in insurance companies, you have people working, and they're working remotely from home, some parts due to the vaccine mandate. That's not going to change unless you weaken the rules to allow those people to come back to work.
By the way, Joe, our viewers are watching 6th Avenue, Midtown Manhattan. It's not exactly deserted, but it has nowhere near the foot traffic and vehicular traffic that it would normally have on a day like this. So it's not working in the middle of New York City. Joe Borelli, thanks very much for being here, sir. We'll see you again real soon. Yes, sir. Thank you.